everybody. Today is August 6th, 2025, and this is going to be a little video about the Cascadia, Mount Rainier, and how it's connected to the quakes in Russia, and also the deep earthquake activity that is occurring in the Fiji and this island area around Fiji and Tonga. Um, okay, so let's start off with this earthquake. That is incredibly deep. This is stress because the ring of fire transports its stress all around. So it goes in this sort of circular clockwise motion. And uh, like this, it's affected by many things. Solar, you know, there are a lot of different triggers for this, but this is deep earthquake activity that's occurring. That's a 596 kilometer. This one is 35 kilometer. That's not too deep, but let's see. 119 kilometers, that's deep. We have 487 kilometers. Like these are incredibly deep earthquakes. That one's not, but it's on the Nankai Trough. And then this one is the subduction zone of the Bonin, and this is the Mariana Trench. So, I mean, it just shows that a bunch of energy is being produced, and when it seeps up into certain areas, such as the Russia area, I'm a little bit worried about that area because it's currently, the aftershocks are still going. So, this is blocking off the rest of the energy potential to go around the ring of fire. So, I mean, it's either, nothing strikes and eventually the energy is released into the Alaska area, and then that goes down into the West Coast and eventually down to South America and that area. But, oh, shoot. Okay. So, there's that, and then let's see, around Indonesia, uh, there's a 10-kilometer one, another deep earthquake, and another 564. That's a deep earthquake. So this is energy coming out. Let's see, just to make a connection. This was the 6 at 11, and this was maybe it was the 5th. So yeah, there's that. Well, it looks like this deep earthquake activity is being transported all across the Ring of Fire, and it doesn't even it expands beyond the Ring of Fire, so it can go up along these systems to Nepal area, Afghanistan, and USGS doesn't show a great job of connecting these, but these are all connected. All of our tectonic plates are connected. So, it's we don't always see this deep earthquake activity in the Fiji area. It's pretty common there, but it goes with phases and waves, and that deep earthquake activity is energy. So there's some areas I'm worried about in the in the West Pacific. So we have the Bonin and the Mariana Trench, and I'm also worried about the Nankai Trough. Uh, Also, I know that man, I think this is the Hikurangi fault. It is also overdue and it can produce an earthquake at any time. So, uh, then we also have the southern section of the Kuril Kamchatka, which did not release because this was a partial rupture. That's what they're not telling you. We have like this is But so the thing is to show you over the past 7 days, so this doesn't include the, oh shoot, yeah, I'll do a custom thing to show you how many aftershocks there were of this, because this is an incredible amount of aftershocks. So I'll modify the search. Let me do from there. This is a good timeline because it struck on the 29th. And great, yeah, so I have this area. And just to show you, put it in search. This is crazy. So that's 536 earthquakes, and these are all aftershocks. Because the main shock was on the 29th. Let's see. If we go back, obviously there was a few bigger earthquakes. But like, wow. Yeah, this is pretty insane. Uh, again, I mean, it cuts off right here, so there's no earthquake activity happening along these Aleutian along the Aleutian subduction zone around here. Um, all of it is in this area up here. So if I turn this back on, there we go. See, all of it is happening just here, but nothing is happening along this part, which is where we should expect it if this wasn't being held up. If these were aftershocks, then, I mean, I'm sure some of them are, but this seems like just a lot of swarming, and this could potentially lead to a greater quake around here, or this blockage gets released and it sends an immense amount of energy to the, I mean, it could strike in Alaska, and then the Cascadia, which I'm going to talk about later. It could be the San Andreas, and I'm sure there's parts of the Mexico region that are susceptible to a major quake and overdue. So, yeah, we got to be watching this closely. If this, I mean, like, you'll know if this blockage gets released because it will be a bunch of energy that will just send all throughout this part of the Ring of Fire. Um, and then there's also potential for a 9-pointer here, and that could also then send a bunch of energy out towards this area. I don't think that that would trigger a Cascadia, or I mean, it might trigger like an Alaskan quake up here, um, but nothing significant I could see coming from that. Because what we have to understand is a 9-pointer here could release energy here, but if it's not being released, I mean, and I also urge a lot of you to watch Dutchson's videos. He talks about this. He talks about how a lot of a lot of agencies were originally reporting it as a 7.8, and then it got upgraded. USGS reported it as a 8.7. So something fishy going on around there. Um, I don't want to get too deep into that, but definitely interesting activity going along here. So there's that. We have this earthquake here, Hiro, Japan. Um, Looks like a pretty surface quake, or 10 kilometers, so that's not very deep. So yeah, but let's see. I mean, there's a lot of activity in the you know North American plate. I mean, we have had we have seen significant activity around New York here. If I turn on all magnitudes for the week, New York, we have, let's see, where's this? North Carolina, um, Charleston, Tennessee. We have Arkansas. This is all, I mean, a 3.1 on the New Madrid. That's pretty crazy. Um, we saw a lot of threes in Arkansas, or sorry, not Arkansas, Kansas. Um, I'm pretty sure that was a cluster of 3-pointers. And I know this has to do with some drilling, some oil drilling that happened in the 1950s, but still a little bit interesting. I don't know how I feel about that. We got some activity in the Texas area. This is unusual, the southern Texas area. swarming here. So my point in all of this is that the earthquakes that are striking along this area, this past 7 days, this is unusual. A crazy amount of energy that is happening, that is along this area. Um, it's just it's crazy. And we have this was an adjustment, so the subduction zone, released and it ruptured. But that means we should be seeing some be seeing some adjustment along this area, and typically that comes with a bigger quake. So yeah, there's that. Um, oh yes, there was something I wanted to talk about. I have to go to the 30 days for this, but it was relatively recent. So along the Cascadia, uh, right before the Russian quake, I'm talking like 7 minutes before, there was a 4.5 and it struck. These are on the Cascadia Subduction Zone or around the belt. Here, if I turn on, let's see, what do I have to turn on? Filter. US faults. This struck on one of the Cascadia belt area, but it was really on the Cascadia because it was 14 kilometers. Um, and then last night we had a 3.4 in Ferndale, and then we also had this adjustment um, off of Petrolia, which is it's basically the Cape Mendocino area, Mendocino Triple Junction. So we had this 7.0, 7.3 back in December 5th, and it definitely released a lot of energy, but it struck here, I'm pretty sure, and there's been a lot of adjustments ever since. This was 3 days before the Russian quake, a 4.2 on the Mendocino. This is between the Pacific plate and the Blanco plate. Yeah. So, or no, sorry, the Gorda plate. Yeah. Okay. Well, and then so we saw that, and there's also a lot of stress clearly um, along the Cascadia. We are seeing it up more north. There's the 2.2, a deep quake, which was a 1.9 in Yahats, or 36 kilometers, which is relatively deep. That is the subduction zone area. And we also had this smaller quake, which was also a deep quake, 2.0. I mean, then we also had this slip, which was it adds more stress to the Cascadia. So that's what I'm a little bit worried about. And then we also had a lot of crustal fault activity. So along the Malala Canby fault and a bunch of Seattle fault activity. In fact, we had some today with this 1.6. I mean, look at all this activity within the past 30 days. This is pretty crazy. And so there's that. Uh, California activity. I gotta talk about this. Within the past day, there is, this is super unusual. We had a 3.7 on the Lytle Creek. It's on the, or sorry, not Cascadia. This is on the San Andreas. And these are adjustments that are being made. These are pretty deep earth, I mean, they're not incredibly deep because they're around 10 kilometers, but these are definitely adjustments being made because of the stress. I mean, I would not be surprised if we see some movement either on the San Andreas or the Cascadia relatively soon. Um, and again, the Cascadia, I will get into this a little further, but this southern section could rupture in an 8.0, and then we have a risk of the northern section, which goes all the way up to here. And, it could be potentially, pretty catastrophic, especially if a full rupture happened. That would be very bad. So, let's see. Let me get into, where was I gonna go? Oh, yes, the tremor. Where's the tremor? Here it is. Okay. Right now we're in a little bit of an elevated tremor. Obviously not like in 2022 or see these spikes. That's when we have those tremor swarms. I mean, this one was 543, but um, let's see. We have, if we go to the most recent one, that's going to be yesterday. That was 332 epicenters. And when we see these, I'll get into it, but it's slow slip activity. And this tremor it has to do with how the, here, maybe it has a good diagram. I need to find one. Um, let's see. Yes, here. Okay. So these are right here, you can sort of see these are the tremor that they're talking about. This is deep, deep tremor. And it happens because the, Juan de Fuca plate is subducting underneath the North American. And, you know, it there are studies that say that it adds additional stress onto the Cascadia Subduction Zone. So we got to watch out for this. We're at a little bit of elevated tremor. 332 is pretty elevated. If we look the past week, I guess I'll do from the 1st to the 6th. We have 1,650 centers, mainly around the Seattle region, or the, I guess, southern Washington area. And then we have southern, and, this could easily result in a pretty big quake. So, see, this is elevated activity. It started around the 1st and then went on, and it's still ongoing. But yeah, at one point, this is in the 400s, 300s. Yeah, anyways, so we got to watch out for that, and I'll go to the slow slip page. Let's see. Well, slow slip can gently, can't be felt by us, so they're not worrisome in the sense that they're going to cause, or I guess that they're going to create shaking because they're very small. But that movement is thought to transfer stress to the stuck part of the fault, shown here in red. So this is where the tremor is happening, the slow slips. And they're saying that it transfers stress up to here, up to the locked part. And that's the part we have to worry about. So, yeah, a little bit to watch out for. I mean, yeah, here's one thing. The research paper, episodic slow slip events in the Japan subduction zone before the 2011 Tohoku. That was a big quake. So it was a slow slip event that began in February, and then the earthquake happened in March. It lasted a month, triggered the foreshock. So we would definitely have to pay high attention to, where is it? To the tremor activity that's going on. But ultimately, we don't know, which is a pretty bad thing, is we just don't know when it will strike. It could be today, it could be tomorrow, next year, 100 years. 100 years is a little bit of a stretch because I'll get to this. So, here's the likelihood. So, within the past 6,000 years, and I'll show you, I'll flip over to this page in a little bit, but over the past 6,000 years, average interval is, let's see, does it say on here? It says, I don't think it's saying average interval, but yeah, so I know that it's about 246. So what we have to worry about is, I mean, it's been 324, and look at these. I mean, some of them are 67. I'm sure those are partial ruptures, but full ruptures with 277 and 270, and the last one was 231, and that was a 9-pointer. Um, so we gotta watch out for this stuff. The last one was like 4,000 years ago where it went above 300. So, I mean, what this could be is, I mean, like this really doesn't happen. It's been 6,000 years since the last one that struck over 344. So, I mean, it's saying right here 93% of the time the fault has not had to wait 324 years for the strain to break it. Uh, the longest span of time between major Cascadia earthquakes in the past 4,000 years was only 291 until now. So, what this is telling us is we are in a time of very, very, like this, the Cascadia is very locked right now. And I mean, this was before these earthquakes struck not as often as they do now. And I'll get to this in here, this page. They struck a little less recent, or sorry, not less recently. They struck a little less often about 6,000 years ago. And before that, they struck, see, they had to wait a while. But what this is telling us is, I mean, look, this was a 9-pointer in 17 AD, or sorry, 1700 AD, and if that happened today, it would be devastating. But it's what it's looking like right now is you can tell these partial ruptures typically happen after, I mean, like really short periods of time. So that means after long periods of time, it will be a full rupture. So, I mean, at the end of the day, we don't know. It could be a partial rupture and then a or sorry, a partial rupture and another partial rupture, but either way, it's going to be pretty devastating. And so then to show a little bit more context, it's diving beneath the North American plate. Uh, and here, can I show? Where's a good one that it shows? Okay, so here's a good one. I kind of liked this one. There is the Mendocino triple junction, and then there's the explored triple junction. But what's happening is it's moving at a pretty constant rate of 46 millimeters a year. And I did the calculations, and over the past 325 years, 46 millimeters about is 1.4 inches a year. So over 325 years, you can imagine, but I did the calculation, it's 37 feet. And obviously there's going to be not everything's constant. So it will definitely be a little bit less than that, but I mean, that much strain and that much moving could be, I mean, this could be a very big quake. And I'm sure that it wasn't totally locked for a big section of that, which means, I mean, it was moving under for a little bit of that, but then it became locked, and now a lot of pressure is building. So we have to watch out for this. Here's another. So, I mean, I showed you this earlier, but doesn't it look like there could be a red line right here? Because to me it does. It's been 325 years. It looks like there could be a line there. This one was almost a 9.1. This one was a 9.13, so almost like a it was like a pretty good size quake. All these are, you know, pretty pretty destructive. So uh, I guess I can't look at the core sample sites. That page is down, but this this will be a pretty big quake. We gotta keep an eye on this. It's right off of here. Look, I mean, there were these earthquakes here. This means that there's some stress accumulating, and that cannot be good. So, uh, oh yeah. Okay, so now the other thing I want to talk about is the Mount Rainier. So, weirdly enough, I'm not saying this is correlated, but last night I had a dream about Mount Rainier and that it was at a red alert level. And if you're unaware with what that means, it would mean that an eruption is happening or it is imminent. So it's like about to happen. And I had a dream that it was Mount Rainier was red and Mount St. Helens was orange. And weirdly enough, this morning I go and check the seismograms. So I'll show you in a little bit, but this activity right here, and I'll compare these to the other seismograms too. This activity is not just like like hydro what do they call it, hydrothermal activity. This is not just hydrothermal. If we look at, and then I'll compare in a little bit, but if we look at what deep volcanic earthquakes look like, this is what they look like. I mean, here, maybe I can find a good one. Uh, well, regardless, so here, maybe I can find um, harmonic tremor, shallow volcanic earthquakes. So we would be looking for harmonic tremor. And pretty much in all of, oh no, hold on. Let me get back because I have to get back to where it was here. Star. Okay. So harmonic tremor is pretty much showing up on all levels of this. It's this, can I zoom in? Yeah, maybe a little bit. It's this just like activity where it's just rolling constantly. And this activity where it spikes and then it goes, or where it can go slowly into it, these are deep volcanic earthquakes. And to show you in comparison to what way, well, actually, I'll show you quickly the other seismograph stations. This is also harmonic tremor. These are volcanic earthquakes. They're showing up across the board for all of them. If I compare them, you can see this one here, this one here. They show up the same on here. These are happening right now. And it only started like yesterday or today. I mean, what this could mean is potentially, I mean, this is also harmonic tremor here. It's showing the same type of earthquakes. This is deep volcanic earthquakes because I'll show you what it looked like previously. This one, the amplitude is a little out of whack, but I mean, it's still showing harmonic tremor on here. It's showing these earthquakes. And just to show you, these are legitimate earthquakes. Here's this, and here's another station, which is, I mean, these are pretty much like miles apart. This earthquake right here is the same as, wrong one. This earthquake right here is showing up on this one and also on this one. So, I mean, obviously, you know, I'm not a professional, so I can't like say that this is a magmatic intrusion, but what it looks like to me is that there are deep earthquakes which are volcanic in origin occurring beneath the summit. And as we know, there were, look, 1,330 earthquakes within the past month. This is the largest swarm that Mount Rainier has ever historically had. This is insane. Look at how it deviates from previous activity on this. This is the swarm right here. That is insane. Um, this was the swarm. I am pretty sure they stopped recording a lot of the earthquakes, but either way, the earthquake activity slowed down. And a lot of these earthquakes were not volcanic in origin. These were hydrothermal, which I can totally agree with, because if we go back to this one, maybe we can go back to, let's see, July. I mean, it started the 8th, so let's just go the 9th. These are just spikes. These are spikes. These are hydrothermal spikes. I mean, this is not the harmonic tremor that we're seeing right now. Look, it's showing up across the board on this. Spikes, 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 spikes. There's no tremor that's just going on. I mean, maybe this and that, but nothing absurd. I mean, these are all spikes. You look at them, you see them. This is a purely, I mean, for the most part, purely tectonic or hydrothermal swarm. So, I mean, really, just we got to look out in the next few days. If any statements are made by Cascade Volcano Observatory or what's the other one? Oh shoot! Now it's just saying it was not found. It sometimes does that. If we go, come on, come on, man. Um, yeah, there we go. Okay, so this is the 6th. This deviates a lot from what we were seeing when it was just spikes. I mean, these are pretty big spikes, but these are not, I can tell you right now, hydrothermal. I mean, I don't know, maybe it's noise, but these earthquakes are happening across the board, from these ones where it's just harmonic tremor. Something is happening at Mount Rainier, and we have to keep an eye out, because I mean, it could just be me um over examining, or whatever you want to call it, looking too deep into what it is. But I mean, look out for what will happen soon, because this will be, if Mount Rainier blows. I mean, you have Tacoma, Olympia, a lot to watch out for. The Lahars are the biggest threat. So there's that. And also to show you, these are not earthquakes that are just showing up on just because, you know, an earthquake far away was happening. If I look at the map, um, let's see, let me find one that's nearby, like this one. This one would show up, maybe it will be too amplified, but Um, I'll see if it's good. See this right here, even though it's amplified, you would be able to see an earthquake that was striking. Um, and if we look right here, this is the one that was showing up consistently on the board. This, hold on, that earthquake was not showing up on one, that was miles away. That means that it was not a nearby earthquake that just struck on like the Seattle fault or whatever. This is purely confined to Mount Rainier. And I mean, I'm almost tempted to go and shoot an email to PNSN or USGS regarding this swarm because look at this. This is harmonic tremor, and to show you, this is what let me see. This is what harmonic tremor looks like. It's it's just slow and it's constant, and that's what we're seeing. So let's see. Maybe I can find a good example. Um, Let me see. Could do one. I mean, I found my Mount St. Helens, but these are old seismographs. But to show you, it was pretty similar. Ah, oh no, it's kind of um, hard to see, but it's also pretty. See, you can sort of see. I don't know. That's not a great one. Maybe I can find one. Yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about. It's constant. It's like big, big. This is happening at Mount Rainier. I mean, I could be over like looking too deep into this, but this is pretty crazy. So now, if this same sort of set occurs tomorrow again at like the same time, from like what time is it? Like 8 to to 3 o'clock, then I would be a little bit like, okay, maybe this is just, but it wasn't showing up here from 8 to 3. This was the day before. Or sorry, hold on. Was this the day before? Yeah, this is the day before. So, I don't know, man. We'll have to look out for the things that they're saying, but everybody stay safe, be prepared. Don't be complacent and just stay safe. Make sure you have an earthquake, kit ready to go. So if you have to evacuate, um, you can leave. But man, I mean, things are just ticking up across the globe. This Russian earthquake was really what set things off. And there was a 7.3 in Alaska a couple days before. I'm pretty sure it was like the 18th or the 17th, 19th, maybe around that time. And everybody was focused on that. But then that 8.8 struck, supposedly. And I mean, just very strange we have this activity. Anyways, I hope everybody has a great what is today? It's a Wednesday. Have a great Wednesday and stay safe out there.